happy today. I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com. This is going to be a fun day. This is not only do I appreciate the guests that I have, I appreciate the word because it's helping me just stay within my life. You know, asking myself, am I brave? Is that present in my life? Really, kind of see what I'm willing to do, what I'm willing to say, and so I'm so excited. It's one of those things that this is show number 49, episode 49. So tomorrow I have some announcements, and tomorrow's a busy day. There's a lot of things happening tomorrow. So I definitely want to have you a part of that. But today, all that we have is today, which is what I am present to. And so within that, there's a conversation that we're going to have, and this is that moment where I invite my friend in and we have a conversation.
Hey, hey.
Good,
How are
good
you?
morning. How are
Good
you?
morning.
I
I'm
am doing
great.
great.
Happy to be
So
here.
this is the moment where I invite my guests to introduce themselves, however it feels comfortable.
Okay. Well, my name is Melissa Price. I am originally from Detroit, Michigan. I moved to Charlotte 12 years ago in July, so this will be my 12-year anniversary here.
Yeah, well,
I am a mother of two little girls, Charlotte and Sophie. They are 7.5, and 9. I had to think about it for a minute. um, and I am a new author and an entrepreneur. And yeah, I know, I'm so excited. And a homeschool mom and a wife and a mother to a lizard and a dog as well. So that's
so
pretty
you're
much
pretty
me.
busy. You're pretty busy over there, right?
Oh, yeah. I try to stay busy.
so, so how does the word brave show up for you?
Well, before I get into that, I just have to say I thought that the word was so perfect. I want to just share why. I know you know
Okay,
why, but
okay,
the first time I actually got to meet William Brown in person, face to face, was this year in February, I think it was.
yeah,
But we've been friends online for years. We just
right,
never got to do the face to face.
right.
And this was shortly after you debuted uh, your cards, which I have next to me, the
You
IMU
got
cards.
right.
And so
Wonderful.
that day, he passed out three cards to from that deck to three random people in the audience, and I happened to get one. And I actually was having a lot of bravery issues that day. And the card I got was so important to me. I carry it in my purse. Well, I told you I've been carrying it in my purse for the longest time, but I recently just added it to my fridge because I wanted to look at it more. But the
Right,
card I got was "Be you, and the world will adjust."
right.
So it was really,
Wow.
really validating. And then I went through the deck and I found you also have a brave card here too.
I do. I do. Right.
um, yeah, I was struggling. I had a lot of nerves that day because I was going to be the only white female walking into a entire showcase of African American friends. And being from Detroit, I never really experienced racism kind of stuff like as intensely as it is down here. Like I've never really been on the receiving side of it, and it happens down here. So I was really, really like nervous and kind of sweating walking in, how people were going to look at me, receive me, and all that. So when
Wow.
I got that card very early on in the beginning of that showcase, that was so validating to me. Like, just be you,
Right.
and the world will adjust. Be brave
Right.
and move
Wow.
forward. So that
Wow.
that would be my opener for brave. Just
Wow.
being you, I
Wonderful.
guess. And I got that from you, so thank you, Bill.
Well, thank you very much. I think that's what the U cards are all about, is just to look at, how we're showing up. And sometimes, I find for myself, I do that within my daily meditation. I'll pick a card for myself and just see, how I'm showing up, and if I'm being brave, or if it's whatever, how I'm feeling. And it kind of puts in that, almost like an attention setting for the day, or just kind of seeing where a gauge,
Right.
where I am, and some days I don't feel brave. I don't feel, that. And so it is something that, I definitely, aspire to. But I am so honored that, the cards, are not just a part of your life, but a part of you. And I was able to give you that moment that
Absolutely.
you carry around.
And I actually I took some extra steps of bravery today just coming on this show. I have to say, I had, since you gave me the word, I really put a lot of thought and reflection into it, and I had notes together and I was talking to
Right.
different people. What does it mean to you? And I literally crumbled them all up and threw them in the
Right.
trash yesterday and said,
Oh.
just go be you, be
Right.
brave, and just what, you don't need all these notes, just go and
Right.
walk. So I said, we're gonna go wing it today.
Wow, that's great. And I think, especially in the times that we're in, the important thing is for us to be ourselves, and to be in the messiness of what I call our humanity. It's like we're
Yes.
not going to get it right. We're not going to say, perfect words and all that other kind of stuff. But the more that we are just out there having, messy conversations, or
Hmm.
just kind of sharing, what's on our heart and what we're trying to figure out, the closer, the more connection we are, the more that we can connect to our humanity. And so I appreciate you throwing those
The
things
notes.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I will tell you, I'm not trying to call anybody out, but the many people that, decline, my invitation to come on the show, will say two
People decline?
things. Yeah, yeah,
Really?
believe
What?
that,
I was gonna
right?
ask you, can I come on twice? Can I come on in
Right.
another couple months?
Absolutely. But the one thing that they say is, they don't do well in interviews. And it's like, well, okay, this is not an interview, this is a conversation, so that's
Right, right,
one.
right.
So it's like that type of thing. And then it's they say that there's nothing that I can say. There's nothing that I have. And it's like, and I feel that kind of hurts my heart, and because I really believe that we all have something to say. We learn from our coach that we all have a story, right? But we
Yes.
all have something to say, and for whatever reason, we don't have bravery to say it.
To say it. Right. That's
Right.
what I'm saying. I
Right.
took the time to prepare, but I'm like, that's not me. I'm going up there with these notes. I want to be genuinely me. And that
Right.
takes bravery because you don't,
Right.
not everybody accepts you for who you are.
Right.
So you just got to walk in your skin, and
Right.
sometimes that's bravery. But I will tell you, I looked up the definition of brave, and it said something along of the lines of not having fear to face or endure danger. And I kind of sat on that for a minute, and I was like, okay, I know what brave is. We know that's courage. But what really got me thinking about it, and I've been struggling and toiling and bouncing around, is what brave isn't. So if we are not brave, does that mean we are a coward? Does that
Right.
mean we are fearful, like full of fear all the time? There's times
Right.
I don't feel brave, but I wouldn't call myself a coward or like
Right.
totally full of fear. So it's an interesting label, I think, brave,
Right.
because when you look at the opposite side of it, it kind of
Right.
shows you even more how
Right.
much we put into brave. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Oh, absolutely. I think, in my conversation around labels, really that I believe that the reason why we have this hang up or we want to hold so tightly to our labels is because we have to live up to that. There's a thing that so if I take on the brave label,
Hmm.
everything that bravery means or brave means to me, I have to like check off the boxes. And
Right.
if I don't check off all the boxes, well, I guess I'm not brave, right?
Exactly. Right.
Type of thing. And so we instead of expanding and saying that, what I say that, I am my labels and I'm not my labels. So there are moments that I'm brave and I'm not brave at the same time. And
Yeah.
so the more that I embrace that, the more that, I'm fearful and I'm not fearful. I just show up. And
Right.
the
Exactly.
more that I just show up, I can find out what that moment needs from me.
Right.
Some moments need me to be quiet, and some moments need me to yell.
Yes.
And it
I
is
hear you.
just being in those moments and getting access. The more that I get access to everything that I am, and everything that you are, the more that you can just show up. And I think that's the as I say, I guess I realize that, I'm one of those people that, no drama, everything has to be neat and clean and all that other kind of stuff.
Even keel,
Even
chill.
kill,
Ooh, ooh, saw.
ginger ale, vanilla ice cream,
Yes.
all
Ginger ale
those,
floats, even.
right, all of those things. And the more that I embrace the messiness of my life, the messiness of the people that I love and care about, the more that I have compassion for them, the more that I have
Yes.
compassion for myself, and that's brave, you
Yes,
know.
I agree with that. I think having the ability to meet people where they are requires a lot of bravery, because a lot of times that's unfamiliar territory to you. You
Right,
know, for me to meet you where you are requires a certain amount of bravery from me, because I do a little bit more than ginger ale and vanilla ice cream, you know?
right,
So
right,
to me, that might be scary, not having all this extra that I'm used
right,
to, and this go,
right,
go, go, and that quieting down and all that. To me,
right,
that takes some serious, I got to be brave and do that, carve that
right,
out. And even though other people see me going fast and doing all this other stuff, for me to quiet down and get in that place, I still wonder, well, what my husband's going to think, I'm being lazy, or my
right,
head's in the clouds, or my
right,
kids, mom's not doing this.
right,
I just got to show up and do
right,
you,
right.
and
It
meet
is
people where they are, even if it's not familiar to you.
right. I totally I get that. I think most of the times, to be honest, for me, my bravery has little to do with me, but how I think other people are going to respond to me,
Yes,
if that makes
I
sense.
agree. I agree.
And so it is just really, I'm so overly concerned about what is my wife going to say? What is the people going to say? What is my kids,
How are you
going
going to
to
be
say? Right.
received?
How am I
Will
going to
I be
be received?
understood?
Right. And it's just like, I have reached the point in my life, I don't know if it's age or maturity or awareness, that I am willing to be misunderstood. I am brave enough for someone to go, "What the hell?" Right?
Right,
And
exactly.
you're right, and just kind of, and then have a conversation after that, or
Right,
just kind of
right.
just keep on going. But before I felt that, I had to be perfect, or I had to be near perfect to even have a conversation with people, because I didn't want to have that second conversation of that didn't make any damn sense, right? Or why are you doing that, or and just kind of go from there. And so, is there anything that any conversations that you now like embrace having because of Brave, or that you just kind of just I'm not just going to go there anymore?
Actually, I've had a lot of brave conversations this week, let me tell you, with everything going on. and people's differences of views and opinions and whatnot. I have to say, one person well, I have several people in my life, like I can count them on one hand, that I can be completely transparent with,
Hmm.
speak freely, but I always warn people too. I'm about to say something, you're probably not going to like it. So
Right.
before you go
Warning.
jump, yes, hashtag, here's my disclaimer. Before you freak out, let me say it. It's not going to sound pretty and explain it to you. I'll give you an example. My mom lives in Detroit too. And, when we have conversations, again, sometimes people's verbiage comes out in a way that they don't mean. And then, of course,
Right.
we run into offending people and this and that. My mom and I work very good together. We just wrote this book together. We're working on another one. I
Wow.
talk to her religiously every single day, sometimes twice a day. But over the stuff that's going on with George Floyd. There's been so much frustration, whether you're black, white, in between. I think just humans all over the place
Right.
are impacted by this on such a level.
Right.
One conversation I had this week, my mom was struggling with the fact that people are burning stuff down all over the country. And she made this statement, and don't judge it. I'm going to tell you guys, it's
Okay.
not going to sound
No
pretty.
judgment.
Mom said, "It's just one life. Why is the country, why are people in Charlotte and why are people in Detroit and why is everybody burning stuff down? If you see somebody get hit by a car, that's not on the news. You don't see this." So I understand where she was coming from. But
Right.
that comment, that whole thing of just one life, I said,
Right.
"Mom, I'm going to stop you right there." And I said, "So I'm going to speak freely." I said, "Every life matters. What do you mean it's just one life?" I said, "This stuff's been going on for centuries,
Right.
and at, at the day and age we're at with laws and policies and how much we've evolved over the centuries and decades, uh, to me, I'm like, I don't understand how you can't understand that this is impacting
Right.
everybody. There's been voices dying to be heard and
Right.
calls for justice and peaceful demonstrations, but nothing's changed. This is still going on." So I told that to her. I'm like, "You can't say just one life." I said,
Right.
"What if it was me? What if it
Right.
was, it doesn't matter, black, white officer, whatever. What if an officer kneeled on my neck? Would you say that, oh, it's just one life? Or would you be like, everybody in the country should be fighting for my daughter right now?" It just depends on your standpoint. But that was a
Right.
brave conversation. I had to stand up to my mom
Right.
and explain my side of things. I saw her side of things, but I was also like standing up to mom and saying, "That's
Right.
wrong." I'm like,
Right.
required some bravery, you
Right.
know?
There are so many labels in our lives, to use my language that we don't stand up to. I mean,
Hmm.
how I talk to my mom, how I talk to, the police, how I talk to,
Right.
how I talk to different people and just kind of work that out. Here's a brave statement that I wrote down this morning, and that I was going back and forth if I was going to share it, just kind of writing it out.
Hmm.
Sometimes I hide behind my writing, instead,
I do
and
too. I do too.
instead of because it takes a totally different tone when you speak
To
it,
deliver it,
because
yeah.
there is a lot of other things, but. I wrote down, and it's something that I'm figuring out for myself and just kind of working through. So it may not be all pretty and all that other
It's
kind of stuff. But
okay.
well, thank you very much. Is that people are not marching for one life; they are marching for their life. And this is what I mean is that if we could watch someone be murdered, online, and not kind of feel that in ourselves and say, "Whoa, will this happen to me? Why is this happening? If I believe this cannot happen to me because of my color or because of something, what does that say about me?" And so now I realize that there is a separation that I have with the valuing of a life.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more that I just exercise a right of marching and just being out there to say, hey, I want to live. I had a difficult conversation with one of my kids about how they were processing all of this, and to have them say that there are emotions that they have that they cannot fully express because it could
Mm-hmm.
cost them their life or they could go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're marching for. That's
Right.
the fully expression of self. That's why I have a conversation about being you. I believe that when we are ourselves, then we can be available to the world, show up fully for everything that the world needs. I believe creation has everything that it needs. And because we are in it, we are part of creation. And so the reason why we are not making a difference on a level that we want to see happen is because we have no awareness of ourselves. And the more that we understand and appreciate who we are and not allow systems and institutions keep us from showing up fully as ourselves, then we can breathe. We can, do our life, be. And I think that's what we are. That's what we are marching for. That's what this is on a global scale happening for me. That's how it occurs to me. And if we reduce it down to black and white, we're missing the global understanding of it.
Right.
And I totally understand how people, may feel differently or may understand this differently or may kind of express this differently. And that's okay. But I believe by having the messy, difficult conversations, we could figure out. We have to be brave within this moment. Because if we're not brave in this moment and we just hide behind what we feel, what we understand, or what we don't understand about moments like this, we will be lulled back to sleep
Mm-hmm.
and think that everything is fine.
Right.
And everything hasn't been fine for a number of years.
Right.
And so, but we have accepted it as that. And that's what this, I believe, this moment is asking of us, to be brave. And in that bravery, it's just be yourself.
Right. I agree. And yeah, I think you said something about the systems and whatnot. I think the system, the systems that are in place right now are really, really what's holding a lot of people back from being themselves, you know?
Right.
Um, Also, on the global level, racism isn't just between black and white people.
Right.
And, even like with this situation, it's caused, I mean, it's put fear in everybody's hearts, you know?
Right.
Like I said, for me, being a white individual and this going on, I worry about going out walking with my kids and ending up in the wrong situation with some people who just want to make a statement. There's
Right.
fear in my heart about
Right.
that for our
Right.
kids and whatnot. And along the lines when you were, how old are your kids, by the way?
The youngest is 22. The oldest is what, 32. Wow.
Oh, not, hey, you could be my
Right.
daddy.
Wow.
So you could
That
be. I'm saying you could be. Just not saying you're old or anything. That's a label. We don't have to go there.
I have no idea what to do with that. Right.
Good. Well, so your kids are a little bit more aware of what's going on than mine. Mine are younger. Mine came up to me the other day after I think they were overhearing my husband and I talking, and then moments after the conversation, my oldest, who's about to turn 9, came up to me and she said, "Mom, you told me in school not long ago that the Civil War had ended. What's going on?" And so for
Right.
me, I had to really
Wow.
sit there and figure out. and I'm honest with them. I told them everything that happened. I think the best
Right.
thing is to be completely open and honest,
Right.
even with the younger kids. I mean, maybe not 3 and 4, they can't grasp it. My kids can grasp it at their ages. But
Right.
I think that's extremely important to teach them and make them knowledgeable about what's going on, because I mean, you see, this stuff's been going on for years and years and years,
Right.
generation after generation. It's
Right.
got to change at some point. And I feel like what you said, being yourself, because God made us all completely unique. We all have our own spiritual gifts. We all have our talents. We all have our walk we're supposed to walk in this world. You
Right.
know, we all have that purpose and that point. You were here to do these conversations and put these
Right.
conversations out here. I'm here as a writer. You're a writer. We have our things we're supposed to do that are supposed to make ripples in this world and make these changes. I prefer it to do in a peaceful way, but
Right.
I also will say, even though I don't agree with violence begetting violence and these riots and stuff that are going on, I'll say
Right.
those people who are out there doing it, they're
Right.
brave. They're
Right.
brave, you know?
Right.
So I don't know. We all have to show up in our own skin and in our own purposes. And sometimes it takes these messy situations to really bring the root of how you feel and where you stand out, you
Right.
know? Because this isn't something I think about on a regular. I don't wake up every single day thinking about racism and how I can make a change in the world. It takes something to happen to bring it back in your and say, no, this isn't
Right.
right. But, you know, we're not all out there marching every day, 365 days a year. But I think there needs to be some serious changes in the system. I think that we all need to be heard. I think
Right.
having these conversations, the messy ones even, they need to be done on a global level,
Right.
not just on Facebook. These things
Right.
need to be televised and out there. People need to be
Right.
heard, you know?
Right. No, I totally get that. On my conversation yesterday,
Which I
uh,
loved, by the way. I needed
with
that, the anxiety
what
one.
we were, anxiety was Monday, so
Oh, so
you're a day
I'm a
off,
day
right?
behind my day
Yeah.
off.
But that was a good one. That was a good one too. But yesterday was heard, and I think
Mm,
how it occurred
true.
to me from the conversation yesterday is that it's beyond my ears. When I listen to something beyond my ears and it gets to my heart, it's been heard. And I think
Yes.
the reason why there's a lot of messiness in our life or in our society is because we're not heard at the heart level.
Right.
We hear people yelling. We hear,
Hmm.
we listen to all the noise, but until it gets to the heart, it's not causing us to move
Right.
anywhere. And I like I said, I just appreciate you sharing what your children, your understanding of the truth and and just kind of being there and walking them through it and just kind of just helping them, and answering the questions that come up. Because sometimes we just say things as parents and as people, and it's just because that's what we were told. So we just say it.
Right.
There's no connection to, we really don't, we, we, I'll speak for myself. From the history books, I know it says that the Civil War is over.
Right. It never ended, though.
How
It really
how
never
how,
ended.
how right? How as what I feel and how it shows up in my life that it never ended.
Right.
So I can act as if, hey, it's in the book. It's like it's on Facebook, so it must be true,
Right.
right? So,
Exactly. If you
or
can read it,
what,
it's got to be true.
right, it's or what is really happening. And I think the emotions, the frustration, the fear, everything that is bubbling up is because the realities of our life is not what we see, what we feel in our
Right.
life, how it's showing up in our life. And until that is aligned, or there's some kind of alignment, I think there is going to be this disconnect. And I think there's always going to be tension in the world. in some cases we have this mentality that everything is supposed to be nice and calm and sweet, and we just kind of go there. In order for things to happen, there has to be resistance and tension to cause movement. And sometimes people don't really appreciate or understand that. They call it negative. Resistance
Hmm.
is negative. No,
Right.
resistance in some case is necessary for the process to move forward. And I think, coming back to the word brave, for me, sometimes I fall into a trap of basically scaling bravery and kind of dismissing it. And this is what I mean. It's like, there's moments where I feel like, I'll do something small, and it's like, well, that was brave. It's like, I mean, just kind of, you know just go back
It's
to
like
social media.
tiered.
Right. It's
Right.
right. It's like,
The levels
oh,
of brave.
I set this on Facebook. Oh my God, I have a brave card. But there are the big things that I ignore, or kind of like, I don't have that level of bravery. And I felt, when I was in meditation today, and the question came up about, do I have enough? Am I brave enough? And what I wrote down after that I didn't share in my post was, what if I looked at my bravery, or brave, just as I look at faith from the scriptures,
Hmm.
as all it takes is a mustard seed
That's right.
of
I
my
I love
my
that.
faith, right? What if it only takes a mustard seed of my bravery to move a mountain, right? To make a change.
Right.
And so,
I love that.
so if I am able to just get a little a little
Right.
bit, it'll cause me to move and to act that. Now, I want to acknowledge something before you answer anything, or kind of continue on. There's a lot of conversation, and like large paragraph type of conversations happening in the comments. And the
Yes.
main reason why I am not putting them up is because you won't be able to see them, and I won't be able to read
I
them
see
on
him.
there.
I got my
Um,
tablet going. I'm
right.
off to the side right
and
now.
and and so, and sometimes, and this is the other thing about this. Sometimes within conversations, there are side conversations, right?
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, so I recognize that there is a side conversation around this word that has nothing to do with me.
Right. Oh yeah.
And so I am not ignoring it. There are some powerful people that I love and appreciate, that are within those conversation. But I just allow them to just show up as themselves, and do and say what they need to say, because that's what this is about. I don't feel that these conversations are like the be all, the everything. It's just a part of the conversation on the word brave. And I would hope that, outside of my conversation with you, Melissa, that we really think again and continue the conversation about how we're being brave, and what is bravery to us, and how we can see it in our kids, or in our spouses, or in our friends, and just kind of acknowledge that. So I just wanted to let it go, because it was just like, wow, there's a lot of things happening over there.
I
But
see.
it is like, is there something for, do you also have a tier of bravery for yourself, or are you just brave or not?
Oh man. I guess I would be. I have to say tiered because, like I said, the one thing I was toiling with the most over this was what brave isn't. So if there aren't levels of brave, and you are either brave or not, then you're either brave or a coward. Ugh. And that doesn't sound good. That doesn't feel good.
Right,
I know there's times where I'm a little afraid. There's times
right.
when I'm not the bravest. Like if I have to call uh, a debt collector. Oh boy,
Right.
do I start sweating bullets and oh my gosh, I'm shaking. I
Right.
can't even dial the phone number. Oh, and
Right.
it's not like I wouldn't say I'm a coward at that point, but I feel real brave after I did it. That's a little bit of a brave step. But then there's
Right.
like going skydiving. Then there's
Right.
going and participating in protests. Then there is
Right.
having conversations that can get very ugly if you're not
Right.
with somebody of the like mindset, like an open mind,
Right.
not the
Right.
same mindset, but somebody who
Right.
can
I
be
got it.
open and hear you. So
Right.
there are so many levels of bravery. Just, I mean, boiling down to being yourself, to facing danger, to being comfortable walking in your own skin, to having conversations. So I would say, yeah,
Right.
bravery is a very tiered thing because the only two opposite antonyms I found was coward and fearful. And I'm like,
Right.
I don't think that if you're not brave in a moment, you are considered, you have to be, you're either that or that, you know?
Right.
So I
I
would
think
say it's
the
tiered.
I think the wonderful thing, and I appreciate that, and like I said, I'm there also. But I think the wonderful thing and difficult thing about language is that sometimes it helps explain things, but there
Hmm.
are so many expressions in my life or things that come up in my life that I have no language for.
Yeah.
And so it is like it's like this, but it's not. And I think I've been trying to. There's a blog that I started that I haven't finished, and I don't know how to finish it, and so now I'm like bringing it up. So because there's a level of confusion in it for me. I can't. It's not coherent enough when I read through it to kind of put it out in the world. So it's just like, yeah, if I don't understand this, nobody else is going to understand this or anything like
Well,
that.
maybe that's because it's you and you're
Right.
very deep. You
Right.
really think stuff out and you go into all the levels. So you just might, for you, maybe you have some more understanding of it in yourself that needs to happen before
Right.
it's ready for other people. Or, you might want to run it by a few other people, and other people
Right.
might totally like, yeah, I get exactly what you're
Get it?
saying. Other people might get it. Be
Okay.
brave and
So
throw it to the wind of
okay.
somebody.
Right. So I'm going to be brave and I'm going to put it out there. And I believe, like in the Bible, that when it says it's like when it's something is like something, right? It's like this, it's like that. And for some reason I can't remember any scriptures right now that have that in it. But because hey, I'm being brave. I'm just out there,
Right.
right?
Yep. Just put it out there.
But right. But I think too often when something is like something, this is like that. We our brains or something takes away the like and just say it is this,
Right.
and it's like I believe the more that we recognize that it's like that, but it's not that.
It's not the
you know,
same. Right.
right? It's not the same, and the reason why it's like it is because that's the closest thing that I can see that this is. This is, but it's not that, but it's like that. And here's another brave thing that I that I really try. It's within my words. The one thing that I've mentioned before that I've had a label dyslexia that I've kind of put aside, denied, and kind of acted as if that is not a part of my life.
Hmm.
And the one way that I coped with getting around that is by overthinking or by trying to looking at it again and again and again and making sure. So it's like because the first time I saw this, I have no idea the letters are backwards or whatever. They're just showing up. It's like okay, I don't understand it. So look again, look again, look again. So my life of looking again causes me to think the way that I think and speak the way that I think.
Hmm.
And so now I see that label that, to be honest, mainly shows up when I'm nervous or stressed or anything like that. I know that anytime that I'm like really stressed, letters and everything just goes haywire. It's because of the stress level. When I reduce the stress level, then it doesn't show up as much. But what I now recognize it as, it's a gift, because
Oh yeah.
it allows me to not just take things at face value,
Right.
and
Right.
not just accept what I'm seeing, because for me there was an assumption that, I mean, I went undiagnosed because I thought everybody saw this way. I guess everybody sees backwards letters, right? Right,
Oh my
I
god.
mean, right, and,
Oh my goodness.
until a teacher asked me, "What are you? What are you
Right.
seeing
What are you
right now?"
talking?
Right, right. And it takes those conversations, those someone that is, it's like, hey, what's going on here,
Right.
for things to happen. Like I said, I see it as a gift. I see it as an opportunity and a strength. What I thought was a weakness or something that I wanted to hide is now pretty much what I'm what I'm known for. Of,
Right.
hey, you think differently, right? It's like, yeah,
And I
yes,
love the
I
way
do,
you
right?
think. You've
Yeah,
inspired me for years. I love your posts that you put up. And I think it's a gift for you because you're almost forced, well, maybe forced in the beginning, but now this is
right,
natural for you to unpack things, like you
right,
said, not take it at the face value, but really dive in. And everything you always put out is so deep and so insightful, and you
right,
can tell you spend so much time reflecting on it. And that's
right,
hard for a lot of people to do. It is a gift for
right,
you. You were forced to have to do that in the beginning, but now it's natural. And look at what you got because of it. Because of that, now you
right,
got this
right,
one word show that you can take
right.
one word and just really unpack it and go in. And I don't know, if you didn't struggle with those things, you might not be sitting here doing this right now. And I
Right.
think
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
lot for a lot of people. We have to be brave with our weaknesses, because
Right.
most of the time your weaknesses actually transform if you work with it and allow it to, and get that mindset right. Your weaknesses are your greatest strengths. That's shown up for me
Right.
in my life too. Being a
Right.
crybaby, and I'm, oh my god, I can't hear anybody's story without whoa. But you know what? When people see me do that, I have so many people that feel comfortable calling me and trust me, and they know I'm going to empathize and I'm going to be there, and be that shoulder. So for me, I always
Right.
thought that was a really, like, oh, you're such a crybaby. I can't deal with nothing without doing tears. But other people appreciate
Right.
that, because there's a lot of other people in
Right.
the world who are stone faced and don't want to hear your
Right.
problems, or won't give you that extra tear when you're going through something. So, I mean, our
Right.
weaknesses do, if we allow it and look at our weaknesses as a
Right.
strength. I mean, we're brave enough to look
Right.
at our weaknesses
Right.
and
There.
hold them,
There it
they
is. Right.
develop into the strength. Yeah, it takes bravery
Right.
to embrace your soft spots.
Right. The one thing that I love about you, as we're wrapping up our time, because we could talk for hours. I
Hours.
just feel that it's like it's like, okay, and I'm sure we have other things to do, but I really appreciate you because you listen and you engage with people on a heart level. And I think that's where the emotions come from, and that's where everything. It's not that you're a crybaby, or it's a negative. It is just that level. Most people aren't heard on that level. Most
Right.
people don't take the time, and like you said, there's a level of bravery to just kind of just own it. It's like, hey, I
Hmm.
I feel for people. I allow things to get through,
Hmm.
so it can touch my heart. Too often, because of the noisiness of our world, we guard things
Shut it
off to a
down.
point
We don't
that,
want to
yeah,
feel it.
that, right, it doesn't, our feelings and our heart concerns don't get out, and nothing gets in. And the bravery is taking down that wall of protection. And I think that's what the first book of beyond the shell, finding you beyond what protects you, was so often when I was protecting myself from the terrible things that were happening out, in my world. I was losing myself within my protection,
Yeah.
and I had to be brave to venture out into the world.
Right.
And so in that story, I'm encouraging children and adults and people to get beyond what's protecting them. Our labels protect us. It is, and our labels confine us,
Yeah, that's what I was
define
gonna
and
say.
confine us.
I was gonna say they can hold you back too, though. I
Right,
mean, even the simple
right,
labels of being a mom, for me, being a mother
right,
and a
right,
teacher and a wife, that's
right,
three hardcore nonstop roles. And I will tell you what, I never win at all three on any given day, ever. It's
right,
impossible. I am never
right,
super mom, perfect teacher, and giving my husband all the attention he needs all in one day. It's just not possible. I got too many
right,
things to do. But I'll tell you what,
right,
I've cried and gone through a lot of stuff because I'm like, I was a bad mom today. I didn't play with my kids. I was a bad teacher. I only did 1 hour of school and they didn't even get it. I was a bad
right,
wife because my husband's been trying to be intimate with me for a week and I'm just too tired. You know, like those labels, they do
right,
define you but confine you, because if I strip that all down and take the label away, what did I do? My family ate today. They were
right,
loved.
right,
They learned, and the house is clear. I did these things.
right,
Forget the label.
right,
you know
right.
so they can
Wow.
hold you back sometimes,
Right.
but yeah.
Absolutely. So I think that's one place to kind of end this discussion, but we can continue it on. Like I said, there was a side conversation happening in the comments, and after the show, I'll look at those and see what
I know. I'm
if
gonna
I can
catch the
contribute
replay.
to contribute to that. But I wanted to give people an opportunity to see what you're up to and just kind of go there. Tell everybody about some of the things that are coming up for you and coming out from you. Give me a moment
Well,
to be brave and promote yourself.
yeah.
Right.
Yes, I'll be brave and promote myself. Um, so yes, my I've got my first book that I wrote with my mom called Lessons We've Learned, Legacies of Life. That should be dropping soon. It's about to go to print. We're just waiting on the front and back cover design, and so hopefully it'll be getting printed and out to print this week. And hopefully to you guys soon. But I'm super, super, super excited about it, and it's a chance for you guys to read from people of all different ages, backgrounds, cultures, social statuses on their lessons and legacies and experiences in life based around love, faith, laughter, success, and resilience. So I've got that dropping. And I also just launched an e commerce store called Lessons and Legacies. You can find that at lessonsandlegacies.company.site. And within that, I have services based around writing and illustrating. I've been doing homemade, handmade greeting cards for all occasions. We've got art and digital downloads and many books from some of my fellow authors that I respect and admire, and some Spirit Square stuff, which is, you guys have heard all about that on Empowerment. But yeah, so you can go to the site. There's plenty of stuff to look at from me and several other people, and I am definitely not the technology queen, so I'm so proud I built a website.
Right.
I
And it looks
literally am
great.
so not the technical queen. So that's like I wrote a book and I built a website store. Like 2020, come on,
Right.
let's do this.
You're just
Let's
out
do it.
there. You're just
Trying to be. But
no.
it brings me back to the card though. Where is it? You be you. The world will
Right.
adjust. And I
Well,
sincerely, that this card means everything to me. And so I encourage everybody that's watching to do the same. Be you, be brave, walk in your own skin, in your own beliefs, in your own gifts, walk in your weaknesses, walk in
right.
those weaknesses, embrace them, make them your strengths. Be you, and the world will adjust because you were designed specifically the way you are, flaws and all, to be
Right.
here and do something important. So you got to be
Wow.
brave and do you. Be you.
Wow. Wonderful. I need you to get you to do my commercials, right?
Hey, I'm down.
Right. Well. Thank you very much. If do you have a moment to sit in the green room for a moment
Yeah,
while
absolutely.
I say goodbye to
Sure.
everyone? Okay. Thanks. Wow, that was great. I really appreciate not just Melissa's spirit, but just her contribution to the world. And I think the more that we are check and see if we're brave enough, right? Brave enough to just be ourselves. The world will transform. I honestly believe that. I believe that from my soul. Just try it, as my sales coach friend says. Just will you give it a try, right? Give it a try. Be yourself. That may sound like a brave endeavor for you, and maybe it is. But I really want you to give it a try. The world wants you. The world needs you, and the world is waiting for you. So go be you. Thanks very much. See you tomorrow.